Well, hello again, everyone. This is Matt Hartman from Tour de Force CRM, and I will be doing the presentation this morning for our webinar. The webinar today is to talk about a fully integrated CRM, SFA, and BI solution, which stands for Business Intelligence, for Epicor P21 users. This morning's session, actually, Heath is also on the call from Tour de Force CRM, and you should be able to see her at the top panel. You should see a little chat icon. And after I go through my presentation, if you would like to present your questions that you have, the presentation will be about 45 to 50 minutes, and then we'll leave time for questions at the end. I will tell you, this is our first full webinar using the Zoom meeting or Zoom webinar feature. I've done thousands of presentations using GoToMeeting and GoToWebinar, and we recently changed. So hopefully we don't have any issues this morning. I think we're going to be good to go. But again, if you do have questions, please submit those in the chat dialogue directly to Ashley Heath. And then she will present those at the end, and we'll make sure to stay on as long as we need to get those questions answered. Well, first of all, a little background on who I am. Again, my name's Matt Hartman. I'm the founder, president, and CEO of Tour de Force CRM. And before starting Tour de Force, back in the about 2000, 2001 is when the Tour de Force product development began. I was involved in a technology company for about 4 or 5 years, did a lot of consulting work for the distribution manufacturing industry under some contracts with Rockwell Automation, Schneider Automation. And prior to that, was involved with an electrical distributor. My family owned an electrical distributor that I had sold back in 1997, and I was involved there for a lot of years. So as you can see, I filled a lot of roles while working at the distributor, all the way from the warehouse to inside sales, counter sales. I was an automation specialist and got heavily involved in construction sales. So I have a lot of good knowledge and background in the public bid market and construction industry. And then ultimately was the vice president of sales and also the president of the company before selling it in 1997. So a long history in the distribution industry. And one of the unique things, if you look back at that 1995 to 1997 era, for you as Prophet 21 users, interesting point of fact is that I was also, my company was the very first installation of the Prophet 21 product. We were the alpha site. We had Prophet 21 development people on staff as we went live in June of 1997. So the very first site that went live on this product. So been very intimately involved with Prophet 21 for a lot of years. Now, one of the things I want to talk about before we get started is just, what is Tour de Force CRM? Obviously, we put CRM on our name, and what Tour de Force was 10 years ago is not what Tour de Force is today. Tour de Force is a business process optimization tool, and yes, we do have a lot of base CRM features, but Tour de Force also has an extensive amount of features that extend far beyond what would be considered traditional CRM, that get involved in marketing, support management, case management, asset management, as well as Salesforce automation features like managing expenses and sales calls and opportunities. But we also have a very extensive business intelligence tools. And a lot of people don't look at Tour de Force as a BI solution, but Tour de Force does have, and we just are in the process of formally introducing a BI only solution, which I'm going to show you a little bit about today and talk about as we go through the session today. But really what Tour de Force is a tool that wants to extend from your ERP, so extend from the Prophet 21 database, provide a lot of analytics and massaging of that ERP data to present it in a fashion that salespeople want to see it. And really, our tool is something that is used across the organization. Anybody that touches a customer should be a Tour de Force user, so that you can provide a complete 360-degree view of your customers. Now, as far as the agenda today, first of all, we're going to talk a little bit about Tour de Force CRM, our enterprise product, and really what differentiates Tour de Force from other solutions that are on the market. I'm going to talk a little bit about our versions and our implementation options. Probably not as important 6 months ago as it is today with the new release of a very, very scaled approach with our product that introduced a new subscription licensing model, as well as a standalone business intelligence tool that we now offer outside of our enterprise solution. We're going to do a demonstration of the core Tour de Force product today, and then get into a demonstration of Tour de Force mobile CRM as well. First of all, some high level, what really differentiates Tour de Force? And I'm going to go into each of these in a little bit more detail. But Tour de Force as a company is very focused in the markets that we serve. And we've recently been recognized for that focus in the distribution and manufacturing sector. Obviously, the distribution sector is more important to those of you that are on the call today. The other thing that really sets us apart is the two-way integration. And Prophet 21 is what we classify as one of our tier 1 integrations. Tour de Force integrates to over 40 different ERP systems within the distribution and manufacturing sector. We have about 5 of those products that are what we classify as tier 1 integrations. And really what that means is a tier 1 integration is going to have an extensive amount of not only just pulling data, but also the integration back into the Prophet 21 system. The best examples of that would be our two-way contact sync, the ability to generate quotes in Tour de Force, and then push those back into orders in Prophet 21. The other thing that has always been one of the staples of our success has been our integration to Microsoft Outlook. Bar none, including Microsoft CRM, there is not another product on the market that has remotely close to the level of integration that we have with Microsoft Outlook. Now, that integration to Outlook has recently extended into further integration that we now have with Google Mail when it comes to calendaring and contacts and tasks and email. We now have an integration to Google Mail as well. The mobility of Tour de Force is another thing that really stands us apart. And then we also have a lot of advanced features for the distribution industry. Many of those we're not going to have time to go into in the session that we have today, but if we ever have the opportunity to do a one-on-one session with your organization, it would be a great experience to be able to share all of those advanced level features that we have. In the last year, we've introduced a brand new reporting module for Tour de Force. It's called Build Your Own Reports, and that's exactly what it allows you to do. Build your own reports, build your own dashboards, present key performance dashboards to your salespeople, to your customers about how you are doing for that customer. And then we also have a fully integrated quoting solution. And one of our pride and joys at this point in time is our user group. We actually just had our third annual users group session. It was last week down in Nashville, Tennessee. We had over 150 people there. It was a great session, a great place to see all the Tour de Force users interacting, sharing ideas, and it is a great forum for people using CRM and adopting Salesforce automation, business intelligence within the distribution industry to share those successes and share what they're able to accomplish with the Tour de Force solution. Little background on Tour de Force, the company. First of all, as I've already mentioned, we have been around since 2001. I am the founder and the former owner of Oracle Automation electrical distributor. So a lot of experience in the distribution industry. It's hard to imagine, but I've actually been in the distribution industry in some way, shape, or form for over 30 years now. And I have a hard time even getting that out of my mouth. The sole focus of our organization is the design, the development, sales, and deployment and long-term support of our solution, Tour de Force. We do not outsource any of our development. We do not outsource any of our support, and we currently do not outsource any of our implementation services. So as a Prophet 21 user, when you buy Tour de Force, you're stuck with us. You're going to be working with us all the way through the process for years and years to come. Tour de Force is currently installed at over 200 companies. Nearly 10,000 users are currently using the Tour de Force solution to run their sales organization. About 80% of our clients are in the distribution industry, and we are very proud of our retention rates. We measure ourselves on what we call a trailing 7 retention, and our 98+% retention over the last 7 years is something that we're very proud of. One of the things that we feel is a very important part of that retention is the fact that we have a very clear roadmap that we can present to our customers. When you buy Tour de Force, we're going to present you with a total solution. We're not going to just sell you the product and say, good luck, have fun, let us know if you have problems. We're going to take you through a very, very methodical process that we know will drive you to an ultimate success with very high user adoption rates and long-term success with your rollout. And that's what we call our roadmap implementation methodology. Now, the people that we use to roll out the product and to introduce it to your team are going to be people that know the product, know the industry, and can bring a lot of experience to you in how to be successful through our business consultants that on average have over 15 years of experience in the industry. Now, the two-way integration to Prophet 21, as I mentioned, long history with Prophet 21, have been integrating to Prophet 21 since about 2001. It was the very first system that we integrated to, and we've invested over the last 12 years millions and millions of dollars into that integration piece. By far, it is the single biggest thing that differentiates us from other CRM solutions. Now, one of the things that kind of added to this and emphasizes the value and the importance of what we are doing with our ERP integration is back in July, we were recognized by Gartner Research. For those of you that are familiar with Gartner Research, they are the world-renowned company that evaluates and analyzes technology solutions. Gartner publishes every year what they call the Magic Quadrant. And they take every technology sector and they break it out and they evaluate the solutions that are available in that Magic Quadrant. Now, typically, Gartner doesn't recognize companies that are vertical market oriented. They typically don't recognize niche products that solely focus in specific verticals. They more analyze solutions across the broad enterprise. Tour de Force in July was recognized as one of the top 15 Salesforce automation solutions in the world. Of all the different solutions that were out there, our product was recognized as one of those top 15 in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. We were by far the smallest company on that list, and we were the only company on that list that is vertically focused in the distribution and manufacturing. Single biggest thing that they recognize, three things. They recognized us and they included us in the Magic Quadrant because we are the only company in that list that has successfully deployed a solution that extends from an ERP solution. Every other competitor on that list has a standalone SFA solution that you have to customize and pay for that bolt-on to the back office, not with Tour de Force. The other thing they recognize us for is the fact that we are a very customer-centric organization, meaning that we like to build relationships with our customers and we view our customers as long-term partners, not in a vendor-customer relationship. So that two-way integration is a big, big part of what will make you successful when you decide to roll out a CRM solution. The other thing was the seamless integration to Outlook. Tour de Force has long, since our very first release, we've had extensive integration to Outlook. Actually, our first release of our product was a product that was built within the framework of Outlook. Not today, but we still have a lot of integration points that allow you to have one calendar to manage. It allows you to capture all of the email that goes through your Exchange server. We are the only product on the market today that has what's called domain level email logging. Salesforce, Microsoft, Goldmine, SalesLogix, you have to send those emails through their mail server or manually interact with every email if you want it to link back to that contact that you're communicating with. Not with Tour de Force, it happens at the server level, whether you're on Exchange, on Google, or a myriad of other mail servers that we interface to. We also provide a lot of inbox navigational features. What are inbox navigational features? When most people sit down at a computer, they open up Outlook and they're looking at their inbox. So with Tour de Force, you don't have to leave your inbox. When you receive an email, you can quickly navigate to that contact, navigate to the account that that contact is associated with, or view anything within your CRM database related to that contact. That's what we call inbox navigational features. And we also have the ability, and especially with Prophet 21, you're lucky enough to have a fairly good contact management system within the Prophet 21 database. Tour de Force is going to allow you to synchronize all those contacts between Prophet 21, Tour de Force, and a local Outlook mailbox. So what that means is make your edits, make your ads anywhere you want, and the other systems are going to get updated. So if you have an inside salesperson that adds a contact in the process of shipping an order or taking an order, a new purchasing agent, a new engineer that they receive a call from, if they add them into the database as a new contact in Prophet 21, within seconds that contact is going to be in the Tour de Force database, and you can even go as far as to have the outside person alerted immediately that there's been a new contact identified at one of his customers. Now, an all-important thing in any business today is the ability for mobile information. People want to access information and knowledge at any point in time, whether it's on a smartphone, whether it's on a tablet, whether they're in their office, whether they're on a public Wi-Fi at a public computer. People want information anytime, anywhere. And that's what Tour de Force Mobile is all about. Some of the advanced features that are really focused on the distribution industry, Tour de Force has a fully integrated sales planning feature. So for companies that every year go through that process of exporting spreadsheets and sending spreadsheets with a list of the accounts that the salespeople are responsible for, having those salespeople set goals within those accounts, then send those back to somebody else to consolidate. That entire process of planning and forecasting year over year is a fully integrated, very robust feature with Tour de Force. The event planning. If you are a company that hosts customer seminars, customer webinars, lunch and learns, counter days, anything that you would want to invite people to, Tour de Force has a very robust event planning that is geared around the distribution industry, allows you, if you want to even use our API, which stands for Application Programming Interface, you can connect your website directly in. So when you publish an event, it's on your website. People can then register, and it goes directly into the Tour de Force database. We also have a very robust project-based or system-based oriented quoting system. So within Tour de Force, a lot of distributors struggle with quoting. It's something that they have people that have templates, you have Excel files, people quote within Prophet 21, they quote outside of Prophet 21, but there's really not one place that you can go to really look at what's happening from a quoting perspective within your business. Tour de Force has a lot of features that'll help you deal with that. We also have a lot of public bid and job management features. So if you're a distributor that's actively involved in the public bid sector, electrical, HVAC, we have a lot of features that are geared towards that public bid sector. And we also have pricing contract management. So within Prophet 21, you have job contract pricing. Tour de Force synchronizes those job contracts into our system, into our contract management. When you generate a quote in Tour de Force, it looks at that customer, that item, and when it adds a product to a quote in Tour de Force, it's going to respect that job contract pricing and also the matrix pricing. And then you can click one button right on your iPad and convert that to an order. You also have a lot of business intelligence features in Tour de Force that respect all those things that are important in the distribution industry. So what are some of those things? Well, every distributor that deals with contractors or deals with manufacturing accounts that have multiple sites, multiple ship-tos, the ability to look at sales analysis and business intelligence at the bill to, at the ship to, at the corporate ID, quickly roll up and drill down that information, very powerful in Tour de Force. If you're a company that is taking advantage of the Prophet 21 sales commission splits, where you are splitting commission rates for salespeople at the line item level. One of the real problems in Prophet 21 is it's very difficult to report on sales commission splits down to the item, down to the product, down to the vendor. So when you look at an account, it's very difficult to see those splits. Tour de Force respects up to 10 levels of splits by item, and so that you can get sales commission summaries for a salesperson based off of their portion of a sales split. We also have the ability to set up what we call product manager rules. So in a lot of sales organizations, you want to be able to generate reports for product managers that are responsible for a set of products. Within our business intelligence piece, you just define what those rules are, what a product manager should see when they look at their reports. And it will actually tag a product manager sales rep ID to every item based off of the rules that you define in Tour de Force. Also, the ability to generate what we call gap analysis. So the ability to identify white space or identify gaps that exist in your business is the single biggest source of revenue opportunity that you have. Every distributor sells a wide range of products. And every distributor, I don't care whether you're HVAC, electrical, pharmaceutical, medical supplies, whatever the case, every item that you sell is giving you knowledge and information to tell you what else that customer should be buying. So if they're buying one product and not buying another, you need to be able to identify the customers that fall within that gap. The best solution, or the best example that I can use, is because I come from the electrical side. I always wanted to know who are all my contractors that are buying fluorescent light fixtures but aren't buying at least 10% of that value in fluorescent lamps. We all know if they're buying fixtures, they've got to put lamps in, or they're buying pipe but not buying wire. So every distribution sector has the ability to sell to the white space, and Tour de Force provides great features for that. We also have what we call job or opportunity-based business intelligence. And that's a very complex piece of our product that really, what that allows you to do is, as you work on a job or on a sales opportunity, maybe over time you are working on an opportunity that's a competitive conversion, or it includes multiple vendors, or it's going to be a long period of time before you really recognize the full value of that opportunity. You have the ability to identify an opportunity or a job number, and then tie every order that gets placed by a customer or by multiple customers related to that job, so that you can look at that job and look at every order that ever got placed and all the sales history and the profitability related to that. Great example of that is if you are selling to an industrial account where you work on a spec, but ultimately that customer is not going to buy that product from you. They may have OEMs, they may have other contractors that are going to provide that product at that organization. You can tie multiple people that buy your product back to that job. And then a new feature as well that we're introducing is the vendor-based business intelligence. And I'm going to show you that today. Really what that is Tour de Force has always been very focused on the customer and the customer-based business intelligence. Calculate well over 1,000 analytical data points about a customer every night. Well, the vendor-based business intelligence is now looking at a vendor relationship where you can track all the contacts, all the email, you can log activities to a vendor, and then look at a vendor to look at inventory and purchasing history and purchase orders and the sales relative to their product. So you can track margin erosion within a specific vendor or specific product. So those are just some of the things that really differentiate Tour de Force in the market. I talked a little bit about our Build Your Own report, and I'm going to show you some sample reports as we go through the presentation today as well. But these are just showing some examples of how you can pull sales and inventory and orders and AR and opportunities and activities. Anything in the Tour de Force data warehouse, you have the ability to pull into the Build Your Own reports. As I mentioned already, our fully integrated quoting engine, it allows you to look up products, synchronize items from your Prophet 21 database, so that when you're doing an item lookup, you are actually looking at the item codes and descriptions and pricing and costing from Prophet 21. When you add a product to a quote in Tour de Force, it's going to respect the pricing matrix in job contract pricing from Prophet 21. And as I mentioned already, our users group. So Tour de Force has a lot of features. Obviously, in the time that we have today, we're not going to get to cover everything, but there's a lot offered in the Tour de Force solution. And what we try not to do with any prospect is overwhelm them with everything, because if we did a full-blown presentation, it would take 4 hours probably just to scratch the surface of everything that we have to offer. You as a company, when you look at implementing CRM, should be very focused on building a foundation before you try to expand and add in advanced features. So typically an integration or an implementation of Tour de Force is going to focus on these standard features. Your account management, contact management, getting control of your sales funnel, managing activities, quantifying value that you provide to your customers, tracking appointments and emails and expenses and tasks, and then the business intelligence, or what we call the business system integration. And then over time, you can expand into some of those advanced features. So what is Tour de Force all about? Really, it's about how do we help you become a much more efficient and much more effective sales organization. One of the biggest struggles in any distributor is the ability to streamline the way you communicate and share information. And that's what Tour de Force is going to help you do. And we want to do that by helping you eliminate all the islands of data. Salespeople shouldn't have to bounce back and forth between spreadsheets and Outlook and their inbox and their ERP to get information. They shouldn't have to do and enter information into 10 different systems so that every department can see what they need to see about a customer. You should be able to consolidate those islands of data into one environment, and that's what Tour de Force is going to offer. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Tour de Force has introduced a wide range of offerings that we never had before. In the past, our enterprise solution was all we offered. Now, today, we offer the ability for you to buy our basic features in a subscription model. So if you like the idea of paying by the month, you can get an implementation of Tour de Force for as low as $20 a month per user. That range is going to be for the business intelligence side. So if all you're looking for is business intelligence to start and then you want to expand upon that, that $20 to $25 per user per month plus the initial setup and configuration. You can also buy our solution, which most distributors would rather purchase the solution, and you can still do that through our traditional licensing model. But if you like the pay by the month option, we also have that available. And this is something that we can provide you after the fact. We're not going to go through all of these different features that each solution has, but we have our enterprise solution, which basically has everything. We have a standard solution, our basic CRM, and then the Tour de Force Business Intelligence. We also have a wide range of implementation options. Again, we didn't have these 6 months ago. 6 months ago, you had to buy our what we call our rapid implementation or a roadmap implementation, which really didn't give a user the ability to take control over their implementation. Some people today would rather buy the software, learn it on their own, and then roll it out and provide their own training. So now Tour de Force has a very scalable approach from a basic guided implementation all the way up to our roadmap implementation, which gets into a high degree of business consulting and sales process improvement consulting. And you can see that the amount of hours in a guided of 16 hours of time all the way up to a roadmap, which is going to be in that 220 to 250 hours of time. I'm going to go ahead and escape out of the presentation or the demo and get into the live system. So I'm going to bounce back and forth for the rest of the time between our live demo system and also Tour de Force Mobile. To start off, I'm going to focus in our demo system. Now, our demo system is actually working in an environment where it is interfaced to a Prophet 21 database. So even though we interface to about 40 different ERPs, the system that we have running internally is actually connecting to a Prophet 21 system because we have more users of Prophet 21. I think we have about 60 or 70 installed implementations of Tour de Force integrated with Prophet 21 today. So there's thousands of users out there. The general interface to Tour de Force when you're working at your desk. When you are working at your desk, when you launch Microsoft Outlook, Tour de Force launches within that framework of Outlook. Tour de Force offers a lot of different ways to look up and access data, so it's very, very flexible. There's three primary things I want to focus on to start, and those would be our different searching functions. The global search in Tour de Force, if I click on my binoculars in the toolbar, opens up my global search, and my global search does exactly what it says. It allows me to globally search the entire database. I can search for any value, I can search any item or record in the system, and I can search on any attribute or field about that item. So in this case, I'm searching on the company name, on accounts, and I can either type in a value or pick a prior search criteria. So if I just search on all my accounts that have electric somewhere in their name, I have 406 accounts in the system. Now, the ability to manipulate and drag and drop and group and sort data in Tour de Force is very, very powerful. The grid management of our system, so the ability to manage and interact with the data in the database, is one of the very powerful features of Tour de Force. And it works the same every time you see information within a grid. Whenever you see information within a grid, you've got a default view that's going to populate for you. but then every company has the ability to create their own global views. So if you want to look at data in a different fashion, you can simply change to a different view and see that information. And every view is going to give you the ability to change the way you're sorting, change what fields are visible, change filters of how you want to look at the data. So it's a very, very flexible system that allows you to interact with your data. When you're looking at an account, if you simply want to drill down on that account to see more information about that account, you can do so right within the global search and then view anything about that account. The other type of search is what we call a recent item. So if I was talking to somebody earlier in the day and interacting about a specific opportunity or project that we were working with, maybe I placed a call and I was waiting on a call back. 2 hours later, that person calls me back. I can go to my recent items and very quickly look at that opportunity that I was actually working on earlier in the day. My favorites allows me, again, from my toolbar, if I were to click on my favorites, it would take me directly to this tab, which is my favorites. My favorites, the little star that you see there, and my recent items and my global search are available whether I'm in core or whether I'm in mobile. And they're going to allow you to quickly and easily get to things that you want to see. So my favorites would be an example of every sales rep probably spends 80% of their time with probably their top 20 accounts. So in Tour de Force, those salespeople would pin all of those, what we call push pin. They would be able to pin all of those top accounts that they deal with right into their favorites. So their top accounts are always 2 clicks away. I can also interact with the system via my inbox. So in this particular case, if I receive an email from a good customer of mine, Don Courtney, I can highlight that email and quickly take action. So if in this case, if Don was calling me to schedule an appointment, I can quickly go action, new appointment, and directly from my inbox, I can create an appointment on my Outlook calendar. I never had to leave my inbox, and I can create that appointment. Okay, I'm just going to say this is a lunch meeting. Okay, and I can send the confirmation. And you'll see that when you create an appointment, it automatically populates that information about Don directly into that appointment. I can also view anything related to Don. So if I wanted to quickly view all the opportunities that I was working on with Don at this point in time, if I open my view opportunities, I can see those opportunities that I'm working on with Don. And once my quick view window is open, I can view anything else. Any email communication that anybody in the company's had, any prior sales activities, appointments, anything linked to Don. If I just want to look up Don's contact, I can highlight that email and click on Open Contact and go directly to his contact in the database. Every email that you receive comes from an email address. That email address, as long as it is in the Tour de Force database associated with a contact, you can interact with that directly via your inbox. Now, everything in Tour de Force provides you a great degree of flexibility in how you configure your system. So as you can see, when I look at a contact, across the middle, I have different tabs. Each one of these tabs can have different fields, and you can have as many tabs as you'd like to be able to profile your contacts. When you are looking at anything in Tour de Force, whether it's a contact, an opportunity, an activity, every single screen, you have the ability as a company to define those fields in those values that are important to your business. Okay? So the activity that you're looking at is obviously pulling information such as activity type, the date. You can keep this as simple as you'd like, or you can track as much information as you'd like. If I close this contact, I can also go directly from Don's contact and look at the account that Don is associated with. Now we're going to get into a little bit of the integration with Prophet 21. When you create an account in Prophet 21, Tour de Force is going to allow you to automatically synchronize in a real-time basis all of the contacts between Tour de Force and Prophet 21, as well as accounts. An account record in Tour de Force is going to be directly linked to a customer master record in Prophet 21. You can do it at the bill to, the ship to, or both. You can also tie it to your master account. In Tour de Force, we call it a master account, but you would map that to your corporate ID in Prophet 21. When you look at an account, just like I showed you on the contact, you have the ability to keep track of different fields, different values, different pieces of information that are important to your business in profiling your customers. Every single one of these fields, in this case, account status, customer class, every one of these fields can be used to generate marketing lists. So a lot of you may have received the email that I sent out this morning. All I did is say, give me all the contacts that work for accounts that are using Prophet 21 that aren't a current customer. Give me a list of those contacts, and then I had a draft email in Tour de Force that I said, please send this personal email. Okay? So very quickly and easily, you can profile and drill down into a subset of your database and then communicate a specific message to those people. The other thing that you see at the bottom is when you look at an account record is going to display everything about all contacts at that account. So all the history related to each individual contact is going to roll up to that account. If I click on my sales data, now I'm digging a little bit deeper into this account, and I want to look at information that is coming over from Prophet 21. Tour de Force has an integration to Prophet 21 that, as I mentioned, pre-calculates over 1,000 analytical data points about each and every customer. It allows you to create charts and graphs and look at sales comparisons by year. So if you want to look at a 3-year sales comparison, month by month, looking at the comparisons of sales, very easy to create high-level analytics. Bookings, sales, profit, margin. For the years, monthly basis, today. You also can see if you are using the sales planning of Tour de Force, if you've set goals, you can track actual to goal, your variances, your growth rates, your run rates. All of these are fields that are not available in Prophet 21 as standard fields. In Tour de Force, our connector runs every night and pre-calculates these data points. So it's very fast and very efficient to analyze this information. In addition to high-level information, you get general snapshot information of AR, payments, quotes, orders, credit. You also have the ability to drill down and look at more detailed or granular level analysis of an account by any what we call major summary type. Now, a major summary type in Tour de Force is going to allow you to take any data point or any attribute about an item that you sell. So think of any field related to an item, whether it's item code, description, the product group, the vendor, or any other attribute related to the invoice where that item was sold. You can pull that field and create summary types, for example, by order. So what are the different order types that you have? Direct ships, direct ships, standard order, over the counter, your truck. So you can analyze that information at any one of those major attributes. When I look at a product group summary, you then have the ability to create as many different views of that data as you'd like. So as a company, you can define what are those sources or what are those different ways that you want to look at information. And each view can contain different sets of data. I can get down to the item sales history within an account to be able to look at every invoice line item, with the ability to actually drill down into that invoice to see invoice header as well as invoice line item information. You can look at invoice headers, again, with the ability to drill down into an invoice to look at every item associated with that invoice. Booking summaries, sales orders, and quotes. So when you're looking at an individual account in your system, you have a complete snapshot analysis of anything that you need to know about that account. All the email, all the activities, all the opportunities, anything related to that account, in addition to that information coming from Prophet 21. Now, in addition to being able to look at customer information, you have the ability to look at, if I go to my favorites, and inside of my favorites, I open up the TJ Equipment account. When I look at the TJ Equipment, this is actually a vendor. So this isn't tied to a customer account, it's actually tied to a vendor account. You have all the same capabilities to track contacts, activities, all of that information. But from a Tour de Force perspective and the integration to Prophet 21, when I look at a vendor, I'm now looking at information relative to this vendor. So what have we booked relative to their products? What have we sold? What's my margin? What's my profit? What have I purchased? And then when you look at a general snapshot of a vendor, it's very different than a customer. Now I'm looking at inventory value summaries. What was my last invoice? What was my last purchase order? What value do I have on hand? If you want to analyze your inventory by warehouse, by product. So if I want to just look at this particular vendor and look at my value of inventory by the product group, you can summarize your inventory on any key field related to that. So in this particular case, I can see that all my inventory for this vendor is in warehouse 10, but I would be able to drill down and analyze that information. When I go to my group summaries, very same thing you have at the customer, except now when I look at a product group sales summary, I'm viewing my product group performance within this particular vendor. Bookings, purchase orders allow me to look at, again, not sales orders, but purchase orders related to this vendor, as well as purchase invoices, and I can drill down into my current inventory for that vendor. So this is looking at the Prophet 21 inventory and giving you the ability to look at every single item that you have on hand, what's on order, and all of your pricing and costing fields relevant to that item. Okay? So the vendor analysis is new within the Tour de Force solution. So real quick, I'm going to bounce off of the core and I'm going to go out into Tour de Force Mobile. If I log into my demo website and go to my mobile demo, this is looking at my Tour de Force mobile homepage. My Tour de Force mobile homepage is going to allow me on my homepage as a user, as a company, you can create what we call little snippets of data, as I like to call them. Basically, if I want to present and have my salespeople have 10 things about their territory on their homepage, you create alerts, and then they can drill down into those 10 critical pieces of information. So what are my largest orders? What are my new orders from yesterday? What are orders that are past their required date? What are my top product groups? What's on my opportunity hot list? All of that information is available through the homepage alerts. Now you'll notice that that appointment I created when I was on Core, my lunch meeting I have at noon today with Don Courtney. When I access Tour de Force Mobile, that same appointment that's on my local Outlook calendar is also going to be visible in mobile. Now there's a lot of functions, all the key functions of that are available in Core, being able to create opportunities and interact with data is also available in mobile. If I go back to those favorites or my recent items that I talked about earlier, all of that same capability is available. So as I was navigating in the Core, as I navigate the system, my mobile environment is going to know everywhere I was when I was sitting back at my desk before I left the office. If I want to open that account, Diversified Chemicals, that I was looking at, this form that you are looking at right here is what we call a quick edit form. In the mobile environment, when you connect to Tour de Force Mobile via a phone, you're going to have a different interface. And this is an example of what a form would look like when you open an account in mobile. On a phone, you still have snapshot data available to you. So you can see high-level information about an account via bookings, profit, margin. You can take action and generate anything that you need to do. You can schedule follow-up appointments, send an email, log a sales expense, create a new opportunity. You can also view anything about that account as well, just like I showed you online. Now, if you are working in a tablet-based environment, by default, from a tablet or from a computer, what you would be looking at would be this form, which is very similar to what you saw online. So when looking at an account on a tablet, you have full access to all of those tabs of information that I showed you online. You also can get full access to all of the sales data relative to this account. So all of the booking, sales, profit, margin, all of those same tabs I showed you online with the ability to get to invoice information, order information, quote information in the mobile environment is also available. Okay? When you're looking at your orders, that same capability to drill down into an order and see all the line items associated. So with Tour de Force Mobile, you are equipping a salesperson with everything that they need to be able to do what I call a pre-call plan. Before I walk into an account, I would be pulling out my tablet, I'd open up this account, and I would want to look at all of the transactions, basically orders, quotes, any email communication. Has there been any recent activity? What's my prior activity? Refer to notes that I had from my last call. All of that is going to be available in the Tour de Force Mobile environment. One of the pieces I'm going to show you when I go back online is the build your own reports. So if I go back to my home page, you have full access to all of the build your own reports. So if I have my daily run of reports, maybe I'm an executive and when I get up in the morning, I want to go grab my tablet, I sit down, I grab a cup of coffee, I want to look at my executive dashboard. My executive dashboard is going to be a report that can be scheduled to run, or you can refresh it on demand. But the Tour de Force dashboards allow you to create dashboards that show you everything about whether it's sales information, order information, quote information, AR. The build your own reports allow you to see information rolled up across the enterprise. Now, in addition to the reporting capabilities, if I go back onto my demo system and open up what's called my manager's console, the manager's console in Tour de Force is going to provide you that same level of access to information in Prophet 21, but it's going to allow you to look at it rolling up a group of accounts. So for example, when I open up my BSI summary in my manager's console, as an executive, I can roll up all those tabs of information I showed you related to an individual account can now be rolled up across the enterprise based off of your permissions. So looking at top accounts by sales, margin, profit, all of my charts are going to roll up across the company. If I go to my summary settings, now you can navigate between different types of summaries. So if I clear this current selection, if I were an individual sales rep, I wouldn't have permissions to the entire company. So for example, when Bill Pargin in the Boston branch opens up his mobile or his manager's console, all he would see is information relevant to his territory, booking, sales, profit, margin, orders, invoices, who his top accounts are. So all of this information is going to limit him to only see what he's responsible for. You also have the ability in Tour de Force to summarize information and create custom summaries. So for example, I showed you that field on the account where we classified all of our accounts into a customer class. If I want to quickly summarize and do a sales analysis across all of my automotive customers, I can create custom summaries on the fly to analyze all of this information. The manager's console is also going to allow you to see anything that's happening within the business, any activities that have been logged, your sales funnel, anything in the business can be accessed through the manager's console in a roll-up fashion. So just a high-level review, and then we'll go into questions and answers. So if anybody has any questions at this time, please feel free to submit those in the chat window to Ashley. If we don't get any questions, I'm going to turn it on to Ashley. And if somebody wants to raise their hand, we can unmute you and you can ask your question directly. Okay, so a quick review. Some of the things that we've covered today. First of all, Tour de Force is going to give you that tight integration to Prophet 21. It's going to provide your salespeople with a complete view of everything that's happening within their accounts that they're responsible. You have a lot of reporting capabilities in the ability to create custom dashboards relevant to your business, customer-specific dashboards, corporate, by sales territory, by account, to be able to look at anything within the Tour de Force data warehouse. You have the ability to look at that same information at the account, and then you also have the ability in the manager's console. In the last way that information can be distributed is through the pushing of information through the alerts and notifications in Tour de Force. So you can have alerts that get sent out to your people every day, every minute, every hour, and show them key information that they need to be alerted on. So if some salespeople don't want to have to go look for information, they just simply want an email sent to them every day to alert them on those things that are relevant. What are the orders that got placed? What orders are past their required date? So those same alerts that I showed you on your homepage can also be displayed through an email and pushed out to your users through the alerts and notifications. Okay, Ashley, do we have any questions that have come in?
Hi, Matt. Yes, we have several questions so far. The first one is proof of delivery integrated with TDF.
Proof of delivery integrated with TDF. I'm assuming that question probably is relevant to a company that has a shipping system like FedEx or UPS. Tour de Force, our business system integration connector, this is a very important point. You've heard me refer a lot today, multiple times I've referred to the Tour de Force data warehouse. Tour de Force basically creates a data warehouse for your organization and gives you the ability to pull information from any database that you have available to you. That database may be a database that resides at your location, or maybe it may be a database such as a UPS shipping database where you have the ability to connect to that data to get, in this case, proof of delivery information. So the short answer to the question is yes, we can interact and pull data from any other data source that you'd like.
Okay, next question. Do all emails associated with a specific email address show as visible for all P21 users, or is it user specific? For example, if I send an email to customer A, will all P21 users within my system have access to view this email, or will only I see this email log?
Tour de Force's email logging is going to capture all inbound and outbound email communication, and then everybody in the company would have the ability to see that email. Now, there are rules. So the interface, the email logging provides you a lot of rules to include, some executives say, hey, put my email address on the restricted list. I don't want anybody to see my email, regardless of whether it goes to a customer, a vendor, or anybody. You can create include lists, which say, I only want to include these people in the logging. So if it doesn't contain one of their emails, don't log it. There are also ways that you can train your users that if they have a confidential email, so maybe they have a customer that is also a friend, where they're communicating personal information, you do have the ability to tag those emails and restrict so they don't get logged. But overall, the idea of the email logging in Tour de Force is that if I look at an account and if I'm an outside salesperson, I could have somebody in shipping that just sent an email to a contact that I'm getting ready to go see, maybe in the maintenance crib, and somebody in shipping just sent them an email to say, we're sorry, your order that was scheduled to be delivered this morning isn't going to be delivered. We had issues. That sales rep is going to see that email that came from that person in your shipping or warehouse and just got sent to that person that you're going to make a call on within seconds. So yes, it is capturing all information, consolidating that down so that anybody that has the rights to look at that account in Tour de Force can see those email communications.
Okay, next question. Can Tour de Force run a cost per order analysis?
That depends on whether the information that you want to be used to calculate is available. So probably if the person that asked that question, if you could maybe message Ashley a little more detail on where that information is coming from. A lot of people have shipping systems that will look at the cost of delivery for an order. If that shipping system that is managing all of those data points that you use to calculate is available, the Tour de Force can connect to it and pass a customer order to get those data points back, then the answer is yes, that cost per order could be a user field that is updated in Tour de Force and can be used for your analytics. Okay?
Okay, that's all we have for now.
Okay. Well, people must be paying attention to their clock. It is 3 till noon my time. So if anybody has a question as we wrap up here, please feel free to submit it. If you have a desire to have a demo scheduled or to get into a little more advanced level discussion, we'd love to do that. If any of you that are on the call today are going to be attending the Prophet 21 users group next week, or somebody from your company is, send them over our way. I will actually be there along with one of our regional sales managers, Pete Chandler. If you would like to speak to a salesperson now, if you'd like to get a live demo set up with your company, please feel free to call us at the number shown here at 877-285-4800, and somebody in our sales group can take care of you. If there are no more questions, I'd like to thank everybody for their attendance today. Again, this was a recorded session, so we will be sending a recording out to this session to everybody that attended, if you want to share it with anybody else in your organization. So again, thanks for everybody attending. Appreciate the time, and hope to further engage with your organization soon.